Hey, everybody, welcome to the Meathead podcast. And joining us tonight, our esteemed panel, as always, Chris Pantano, going by that. Chris, you were actually diagnosed with autism at 38 years old.
Yeah, 38 years old, yeah. I got diagnosed.
Boss of Outlaw, very, very famous coach with autism. We're going to talk about coaches. Going around the circle, we got Big Mike Cox today. Didn't go very obscure. Mohamed Makawe. You guys should know who he is. If you don't, shame. He was from Egypt. He beat Lee Haney several times in Lee's rookie season.
4 wins in 1983.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was a shorter guy, but just perfect awesome. Shape, conditioning.
The original giant killer.
Yes.
Exactly. And the new IG for Austrian Powers. This is Leo Mehrhofer, classic physique pro. He actually just competed at the Utah Cup in Salt Lake City last weekend. We'll look at pictures from that. I want to see. We're going to look at Chris's new pictures. Well, actually, those are old pictures, but
yeah, those are just old ones from last prep that I was just excited.
Bro. I was very impressed. I was like,
they were freaking great pictures. We'll look at all that later, but we want to talk about coaches, shitty coaches, because there are millions and millions of coaches now. Estimates say there are probably close to 1 billion coaches in the world at this point. So some of them are great. A lot of them are not so great because there's no vetting process. There's no certification really. Well, there are coach certifications, but anybody can become a coach or call themselves a coach. So I'm encouraging you guys to have in the chat, give me some of your worst coaching horror stories, and we'll be relating ones that we've come across. Who'd like to start? Who's run across a truly awful coach in their time?
Leo?
I know a horrible first stack that someone who was getting a pretty well-known coach actually started off in his off-season stack. Never had taken anything. 1 gram a test, 700 trim and Winstrol. I don't know how much.
Okay.
That was for a beginner.
Wow.
What?
Yep.
Do you know if this was common with this coach? That he was just.
It's common that he gives people a lot, but I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more stories that are truly awful relating to female competitors because male hormones. When you give them to males, it's bad. You can mess guys up, but you can really mess women up by giving them a lot of heavy androgens, and we've seen the results. We've seen the women with the voices, or heard super deep voices that I don't think ever really go back, no matter what.
Yeah, I had someone. I remember the guy was coaching his girlfriend, and she's bikini, and he showed me her last competition, and then told me her stack, and I'm like thinking like, first off, there's no stack needed, and then it was like Winstrol, Anavar, Clen, and Mastron, I think, for bikini. I was like, dude, you're amateur bikini. What is wrong? She needs exactly nothing.
Yeah. Jimmy was the one who, he's not here tonight. He couldn't make it, but he's the one that came up with, gave me the inspiration for this a week ago. I'm going to try to remember what he said. It was a woman that came to him that wanted to be coached, and she had so much damage. Her levels were so off. Her hormones, her liver, everything was so screwed up from the previous coach that he was afraid to take her on as a client. But it's very common that the coaches have the attitude that I'm just here to help you win. I'm help you here to make you look your best, win the show, and your health, that's on you. You know, if you have problems, oh well, you know, I'm not your doctor, I'm not your babysitter. You hire me.
But look your best from the chin down.
Yeah. On the outside, maybe the exterior, that'd be a better way to phrase it. Your exterior is going to look amazing. Your interior might be just going to hell in a handbasket.
You know, Teron, like, so I mentioned it before, like the one girl I used to date back in Columbus that was shaving the one time I woke up in the morning. Yeah. How she got to that point though was a previous boyfriend, right? She told me was like it was natural. I saw the physique. It was very, it wasn't great physique. She had a great physique, a little bit older. It wasn't great, but it was decent naturally. But he told her it was Anavar and it was halotestin.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
So it was never what it was, and he knew what it was. In the Winstrol, I don't know if it was really Winstrol, maybe a little bit of D-ball because the side started getting so bad, but the side effect, the viralization had gotten so bad. And by the time I was there, she was like, well, I don't give a shit. Let me just do probe. It takes a special type of crazy to do that to a person willingly, right? Especially someone you're dating and you say you care about, right? That's just a different level of like,
Yeah.
that's like putting fentanyl in somebody's like powder, right? That, you know what I mean? Like you're just playing with somebody's, like, for women especially, that's forever. Like we've been at shows to where we hear some of those masters women talking, and you're like, hey, oh, you know what I mean? You do one of those, right? So it's just, it's hard, and you just wish there was a better vetting process to some of these coaches because there is none. And now it's almost like a Ponzi scheme to where, and even here locally, I remember, I want to be discreet, to where a girl locally, and I think she was one of Jimmy's athletes, I believe. She same type of thing. Her boyfriend, she was very small. Her boyfriend got her into the sport, and I saw her getting bigger and bigger and changing, right? And then all of a sudden she's a pro card. Congratulations. But then now she's got clients. So it's just how much real, time coaching do you have if you get a pro card in 3 years and now you're coaching, right? There's no background to it. So it's a very slippery slope nowadays.
Even some of the high-end level coaches do some weird stuff. I was pretty privy to some screenshots the other day. So I've seen the receipts on this. But this one particular coach, very big name coach, feeding one of his athletes, he'll literally say, all right, 1,000 grams of carbs today. See you in the morning. Right? Like I remember like my coach, like when I'm carbing up for a show, it's like an hour after every meal, I'm taking check-ins or I'm going to, his room there and to get looked at. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you could just blindly give someone 1,000 grams of carbs and see them in the morning. There's so much error there's so much opportunity for something to go very wrong. And then you don't have time to correct it, and that's a big name coach that does that. I've seen I know of two other big name coaches that coach mostly women and some men and stuff that say, I don't look at blood work. I don't care about blood work.
Oh,
and that right there is kind of messed up because, and this particular coach was giving this one female client 1,400 milligrams or 1,500 milligrams of PEDs a week going into a show.
Wow.
And on top of that too, like mostly DHT based drugs, and then complete, Letro, Arimidex, Nolvadex. It's like, like, what are we doing here?
That was all for one person?
That was one person, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've all heard. No, we're not going to name any names, guys. So don't ask. We're not going to. That's an easy way for me to get sued, or they could say I'm defaming them. So I'm not going to do that. But there have been well-known coaches, especially coaching mostly women, that were known to put women on diuretics as far as 2 weeks out from a show, all the way up to the show.
Yep.
And can one of you explain if that's even, is there any way that would be justified?
The only way that would work is if like you're using usually aldactone, because I know people that'll take aldactone like 7 days out, because once you start taking it, you want to still keep that in your system. Otherwise you'll just rebound like crazy. I can understand maybe aldactone, but generally speaking, 2 weeks. And I know of a person who was on diuretics for 2 weeks as well.
What?
And it's probably the same coach we're talking about here. That's just terrible. It's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and we've had some women die the past couple of years. Very unfortunate. At the shows, the day before the show, the day after the show, and diuretics are the one thing that can kill you like that. I always say you could shoot steroid, you could shoot a whole slew of bottles of steroids in one day. You're not going to die that day, but you could fuck up with diuretics and you could be dead that day.
Well, see, the other issue is that some of these coaches that are doing these crazy diuretic protocols, these athletes that they're coaching might be on other prescription medications. And I remember one of those deaths that you were talking about, this one woman was on a couple of other medications that causes like massive uptake of potassium and like increased like calcium absorption. So when you start running that with a potassium sparing diuretic and now you're depleting sodium, like, yeah, like that's when you can run into some heart issues like cardiac arrest. So that's when these coaches, like, they need to know, you know, medications and stuff like that, at least know some basics, because when you're that's, you know, you're stage lean and you're depleting and you're manipulating water and electrolytes, it's a recipe for disaster.
It's
that's what happened to what's his first name? Mohammed.
Oh, Momo Benaziza?
Yeah. Was it him? The guy who was rescued by Milos twice?
Well, he wasn't rescued, he's dead, so
yeah, but at that time he took potassium sparing diuretics and ate a bunch of potatoes and all that stuff. And then he did it again the next week. And Milos was like, "Why do you do it?" He's like, "I need to get to Olympia."
yeah. I mean, you can't. Who do you blame in these situations? Do you blame the coach? You blame the athlete? You blame everybody?
No, you blame the athlete.
Okay.
For the second run, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you already almost died and you do it again, then you blame the athlete.
But if you're an amateur athlete and you really don't know better, like at what point do you like, how do you know? Because there's so like now when you get into bodybuilding, it's almost like you get a coach. Like we just kind of fell into it. Like now it's like I want to be a bodybuilder. I'm gonna hire a coach. I'm gonna follow this protocol. Like you're putting a young man's health in your hands. Right. And if you don't look at blood work or you're just a money dude, right? You're just that's almost, I guess this is the 52-year-old mind thinking as opposed to the 32-year-old mind, right? Mm. But like you're taking, that's a big responsibility. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's scary at some point. You know what I mean? Because what if something happens?
You know, the biggest thing is, you know, when I was in my, you know, early 20s, when I first, you know, or my late 20s, when I first started taking stuff, I was already researching everything I possibly could for 7 years prior. Mm-hmm. And then anytime I would, like, I'm thinking about introducing a new compound or something, like I would read everything I could find on that compound. Yeah, that way I knew what it was. Anytime I had a coach that was like, hey, you know, let's run this, I would ask why. I'm not questioning you. I want to know the reasoning behind it. And then I would do my own research. If it was ever something that I was uncomfortable taking, I'm like, I don't want to take that. You know, but a lot of, especially the women that are coming up, they're just, you know, they put their faith in them and they're trusting their coach, and they're just like, they blindly take stuff.
They do, man.
But a lot of people also to blame themselves because they don't want to know. And that's why they want to surrender to the coach. So they don't, you know, get anxiety about it, or they don't worry about it. They're like, oh, if I don't know, you know, it's better for me. I don't like, people live in denial oftentimes. So there's also people that are like, they don't want to get blood work because they're too scared.
Yep.
So these type of people, it's like if you're the president and your minister XYZ that you put in makes a mistake, it's that guy's mistake, but you put the guy in, so it's also your responsibility who you put in. So sure, the coach is also to blame, but the athlete is always to blame also, because they're the ones hiring that guy. Like you are also responsible for who you trust in and who you hire. So I think it goes both ways, but obviously it's I would say it's shadier and worse of the coach who should know, because they most of the times they don't do it because they don't know. They do it even though they know.
Well,
Has coach been sued at all? Do you know?
Yeah, that's what, especially like when someone's died. That's an easy wrongful death lawsuit, a civil suit. You know, that a lot of attorneys would take on pro bono, or, you know,
there's a lot of coaches that do this, and I actually do this myself with my like coaching forms. Is I have a huge terms and conditions and like a limited liability release agreement that you have to sign, and it says like, I am not a doctor. Any sort of compounds you're taking like should be under doctor supervision, like it says that. And I'm saying like these are all the risks that could potentially happen, you know what I mean? And some people read that and they're like, whoa, this is all the risk. I'm like, it could potentially happen, not now, maybe years down the line, who knows. And I think that's just a good way of just being upfront with clients and stuff. I mean, when they ask you questions, if you're a coach, you should be able to explain what you're doing, you know, and help that client understand. You know, the way I always viewed it is like the more I could teach my clients, the better feedback I'm going to get from them, which makes my job easier. You know.
Yeah,
That's smart, man.
Sometimes I get clients that are like crazy smart. Like I had clients that they told me about some drugs. I'm like, I never heard that. What is that? And it wasn't like really bodybuilding related, but some people research like, whoa. I'm like, I wrote a book on this. You're pretty good, man. You know a lot. And it gets really interesting because then it's sometimes also like almost an exchange because I've had clients that are experts themselves. One guy even hired me just to see, like, to test me. He's like, I just hired you to test you how good you were. Like, you totally passed. I love you. That's a guy who owns like compounding pharmacies and all that kind of stuff. It's funny. I didn't know it at the time, but that was funny. It's like, and he then asked me, he just wanted to test. Like, that's funny. Yeah. So there's both. Most of the times it's an either or. So your client either knows everything or nothing.
Yeah, but I agree with Chris. If you should be educating your clients, and I've heard people say, you know, I asked my coach about this or that, and they said, just trust me. They didn't want to answer the question. I don't know if they didn't know the answer or they didn't want to tell him or her how risky what the protocol really was. But I think that's a huge red flag that if you ask questions and your coach just deflects them or doesn't want to answer them and just says, just do what I tell you, I would run, not walk away.
Oh, I agree with that. And, you know, I've been asked questions sometimes from clients and I will straight up tell them, you know what? I don't really know the answer to that. I'm going to get back to you. And I will go and spend time researching just to, you know, because it's a learning opportunity for me too. And I think that's good, just being honest and communicating well with clients, because that's how I view coaching anyways, as like a collaboration. It's not just like coach and client. It's like, you know,
That's awesome.
So,
but don't some clients think I'm going to do whatever my coach says no matter what? Like that's just the hardcore.
Oh yeah,
mentality. You know what I mean? Like,
just like they just want to read the form and that's it. Yeah. You know.
But would you encourage them to ask questions? Like if you're working with somebody and they don't ask you any questions at all, they just that check in, boom, boom, boom. Would that bore you, or would you want to hear some kind of, you know, something from them?
See, my like weekly check-in forms are very, very in-depth and detailed. So it's designed to get people to take time on it. But if I know like the check-in forms are getting very like, you know, one-word answers type thing, I'll challenge them and be like, can you explain this a little more to me? What's going on? Or, you know, hey, did you have a stressful week or something? Like, oh yeah, like, you know, I had a family member pass away. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Like, this is stuff I need to know. And it's just more or less helping them understand like what's acceptable to communicate with you. You know what I mean? I don't need someone to text me every time they go to the bathroom, you know, but
I already know after like very short amount of time, if this client's going to stay or not.
Absolutely.
I know right away. Cause like some people just never give you any feedback. And I'm like so nice. I ask them over and over, how are you? What's up? What's going on? Where's the check-in? So blah, blah. I'm overly nice. I should say nothing, but I also feel bad because I already charged them once or so. But there's so many times, like, I don't know why they even hire me sometimes. I'm like, why did you hire me, dude? Like, you don't get back to me at all. Like, for just the training program and like the cycle now that you're on, and like, that's it. Like,
to tell, I think a lot of people say they want to say I have a coach, and especially if it's a pro like you are, like say I'm coached by a pro, and it's their friends like, oh wow, you know, they're impressed. This is worth mentioning. Dan Duchesne, the late Dan Duchesne. I met him a few times. I can't say I knew him. He passed away long ago, but he was the author of the original steroid. It wasn't a book. It was like 60 pages.
That's a pamphlet.
What was called the Underground Steroid Handbook. He was like the original steroid guru. He lived in Venice or Santa Monica, hung around Gold's Venice, and he was like the original guy to give protocols to people and have them try new compounds. But he really used these bodybuilders. This is going back to like the mid 80s, early to mid 80s, and I think through the mid 90s, that was his biggest, his most active period, as guinea pigs.
Yeah.
If something came along, he didn't know how it worked, he'd give it to some guy and say, "Yeah, take I want you to do 2 cc's of this twice a week, and we're going to watch and see what happens." And sometimes I'm sure the results were great, and sometimes I'm sure these people must have had horrible effects.
Was he open with them, or did he say do as if he knew what he was doing?
I can't say for sure, but I do know that he was very much into experimenting with these people, like using them as research.
Didn't he introduce Newbane too, Ron? Wasn't he the one that introduced Newbane to everybody? Wasn't he? That's what I heard.
I've heard that. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to speak ill of the dead. Just like
right. Yeah.
So, another one, John O'Regan. Another one. I don't want to speak ill of the. He is dead, isn't he? But
I think
Dallas.
Pete Grimkowski is the OG.
The OG. Yeah. The OG coach.
The OG crazy cycle.
Oh, I've heard that too. But
the 13-gram cycle.
O'Regan, so he coached the late Dallas McCarver very early in Dallas's bodybuilding career. He coached Boston Lloyd at one point when Boston was very young. And Boston, I remember talking to Boston about it. And he said, "Well, what should I use?" And he says, "How much money you got? Like, just use as much as you possibly can, basically. If you can afford to be on like 3, 4, 5 grams, whatever, that's what you should use." He was very much into heavy stuff.
There was always those nuts, though, man. There's always those nuts, Ron, that were just like, God, just recommend everything.
Yeah, Dan Duchesne introduced Clem. That's probably true.
Yeah.
Because he was out there from like the early 80s on when there were of course, drugs have been around a long time, but a lot of other drugs were just starting to get introduced. I don't think Clem was he probably was the first one now that I think about it.
I remember getting that in 96, those little silver blister, and they had the pump back then. You know what I mean? The pump liquid clenbuterol back then.
Well, they make it. I think it's called Ventaputin.
Yes, that was it.
You can buy it if you have like equine. So like you can get it for horses, and it's used. Obviously clenbuterol is used to treat asthma in horses. Yeah. That liquid gel stuff, it's very viscous. That stuff's awesome.
I remember we had that.
I have a question for you guys. Has any one of you used doxycycline?
What the hell is that?
What is that?
No, I have not.
That's an alternative for acne.
Yep.
But it's so it doesn't work like Accutane, that after like successful usage, it stays off. So you would have to keep taking it, from what I understand, but it doesn't interfere with your fertility. That's why I'm probably going to try that out, because I used Accutane years ago. Everything cleared, never came back. I got Accutane from the first cycle, acne from my first cycle, 350 test. So it was just, I was just prone to it. I didn't overdo it. That's one reason why I always hated these people hating on Samsu. Like, dude, just because your acne doesn't mean you're taking a shit ton.
Exactly.
You could have just bad genes and you take 350 tests and you got acne. So that doesn't necessarily mean that. Well, but so I got off for 1 year, and when I got back on, it popped up again. But at that time, I wanted to get my fertility up, so I never went back on the Accutane. And it's not bad. You see my state shots. It's not like it's in your face and like, ooh. But I want to get rid of it. So
I never noticed any acne on you, but I'm sure I'm not up close inspecting your complexion either. One thing I've heard,
that's why I never get the what's his name again? The one who does the 4K videos.
4K, who's that?
The 4K, the guy who's always at the shows.
Gilko.
Oh, Gilko.
Yeah, Gilko.
That's great stuff, man.
That's right.
One of my regrets is I wasn't competing when Gilko was around, because good Lord.
Hey, by the way, Ron, are you close to where Evan Centopani lives?
We're probably like 2 hours away, both Ron and I.
2 to 3 hours.
I'm gonna visit him before New York.
Yeah, he's down there. He's closer to New York. He's like
Yeah, that's why I'm coming there. Yeah.
he's the southern end of Connecticut. So you'd have to go all the way through Connecticut, then all the way through Rhode Island, which is this massive state bigger than Texas.
It's the armpit of the United States.
So the Barbarian Brothers were from Rhode Island. I don't know if you
Were they
heard
really?
Their
One
joke
of them
about
owns
Rhode
like an
Island-
ice cream store now, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So their joke one time was the state of Rhode Island was so small they once had it wall to wall carpeted. Thank you. Yeah, got to train at Evans Home Gym. Oh yeah, absolutely. Ultimate Orange. Jeez, now you're going
Oh
way
my
back.
God.
I think Dan developed that supplement.
Yeah, I
That was
believe
the
the
greatest-
original Ultimate Orange had Clen, and I think it was D-Ball was
Dude,
spiked.
we would take that and smoke a bowl to go train because it would bring us down and kind of level us out. That was the great. It was clumpy. It didn't shake good. It was clumpy and like orange and not sweet. And like, but
Bitter orange.
it was rocket fuel. Like it was fucking
It was
rocket
probably like 600 milligrams of caffeine.
stuff. It was everything, but it worked.
So getting back to bad coaches. So Mike, have you coached too? I'm trying to see if you're all
Yes.
coached. Okay, so we've all had people come to us from other coaches who they're dissatisfied with, and I'd like to get some of the reasons. So I've had people that were at their shows, and their coach had prepped them all the way up to that day or the day before, and then just go. They could not reach their coach. Never heard back, and like they'd hear back from like a week later and say, "Oh, sorry, I had stuff going on." But that's the one day. If you can't be at the show with your client, which is understandable, they might be across the country in another country. You have to be accessible because they're on like panic. Some of these people are on panic mode all day. Should I lay down? Should I put my feet up, down? What should I eat? They'll say, can I eat this? How much fluid can I drink? And you have to be there. You have to be accessible to answer those questions. And I've heard of clients that everything was going fine up until that day. And then for whatever reason, they were just left all alone to navigate all those questions on their own. And it didn't end well.
My ex-girlfriend was doing, I think, junior nationals one year. That's in Chicago, right? Was it Junior USA's?
Yes.
One in Chicago, and her coach was backstage with her for 5 minutes and was just off, like taking pictures with people, and just left her like, high and dry. It wasn't Dom Super Slice was the one that was backstage and was like helping her out.
Wow.
Just because he's like, you need to eat some food, like eat this, because she was just nowhere to be found. Just disappeared the whole day.
Oh my God.
Sunday on my podcast, Dom.
Oh, he's going to be. No, you had him on. Didn't you have him on already?
Yeah, but he's local and he's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dom's a good dude.
Yeah, super sliced.
Awful. Dude, I had a guy at my show, Ron. I was backstage, right? It was back before the finals. And this kid, he was out. He wasn't in shape. He was probably about 4 weeks out, tall kid. Nice kid, right? He was about 21, 22. So we're talking. He goes, I don't feel good. I go, what's the matter? He goes, I don't know. I hadn't had water. My coach wants me to take another diuretic, and my heart's kind of hurting. I go, no. Like I said, dude, no, just don't take anything. Just go drink some water, go sit down. But it's just, and the coach he wasn't even there. I don't know what the dude was. He was just, but it's just sometimes the advice, man, is just so asinine to give these people. It just blows your mind that this kid, he was thinking about taking the other half of the diuretic, and he was still fat. Not disparaging, but he wasn't in shape, right? And the diuretic wasn't going to work, but you felt so bad for the kid because he's a nice kid, but I don't know, man. It's navigating this shit nowadays. It's just I feel something for these people because it's so easy to get a coach.
Well, I mean, when I see people that are way out of shape at shows, and then I find out they have a coach, immediately I'm like, A, why didn't you tell them, no, you're not ready, let's pick another show. You still have way too much body fat. Or B, I've even been at shows where those people are on stage and I can hear the coach, I'm around the coaches and they're like, yeah, this and that. And they're like, they're pumping them up like they're in the mix and they're not only dead last, but like people are making fun of these people. And, I'm not talking about like transformation cases where someone might've been like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
These are people that their coach put them on stage when they look like they're 12 weeks out, 16 weeks out.
I mean, I have that too. For example, I have a friend I mean, he lost 50 pounds, but he just wouldn't check in. And I'm like, you're not ready for that show. She's like, I'm committed. I'll just do it.
Oh, I mean,
You
yeah,
know,
then
you're like,
if they're
you should
determined
do
to
it.
do it, you
And
can't
the guy, he's the greatest guy. He's a businessman. He has a lot to do. He achieved a lot, but he was not ready for a show. But he couldn't, like, he was committed. He was like, I'm going to do it. And like, I told him way out, like, pose, send me posing, pose. Like every week, nothing comes. Day of the show, I see him. He's never practice posing.
Wow.
I mean, well, what can you do? You can't just be like, do it, send it to me, do it. And they don't, there's people like that. And
it's part of the accountability thing too. It's like, if you can't check in and provide detail to your coach, like what are you not doing on your plan as well? Like that's where my mind always goes.
I couldn't even adjust plans or anything. He would just not check in.
I mean, how can you do your job when someone's not giving you feedback?
Exactly.
It's like, it's part of the.
But I'm not gonna let him die on that show. Still, I'm gonna be there and at least show him on that day when I'm there. Anyways, going to show him like at least a little bit how to pose and try to rescue as much as I can. But
yeah. So
but I'm honest with him. I'm like, dude, you're not there. Like, you haven't like. But
as a coach,
whatever
right?
we can do.
So as a coach, do you encourage if the body's not responding, just say it's not responding, you're doing whatever you can, but he wants to keep going and just say the genetics aren't there? Do you encourage him to keep competing, or do you have a heart to heart? Because again, listen, it's a business and you guys got to eat, right? So but do you say, hey man, listen, it's not working, it's a great hobby, maybe you should try something else? Or do you say, hey, let's just keep rolling and spend all this money doing these shows?
No, definitely I would tell him.
I mean, the reality is that if only the genetic elite competed, the shows would be we wouldn't have enough people to fill these shows. And if coaches only worked with the people with awesome genetics, there would be.
But there's a lot of people that just want to compete.
True.
They don't want to win. They don't need to win. Maybe they also want it because if you have a date, you'll stick to it better than if you're just like, diet starts tomorrow. I want to be in shape in summer. Never works.
And when you start out competing too, dude, I never thought about winning. When I first did the show, the last thing on my mind was winning that show. It was just like, the more you do it, that's when you start getting that kind of like, oh shit, I want to win this thing. But when you first start off, it's just like you want to get on stage, have a good time. I guess some dudes now they get jacked and want to win their first show, but before it's just like, oh, let me just get on stage and see how this works out. Nowadays, there's both. There's the guys that think they're gonna get a pro card right away when they're like nowhere near, but they're like, oh yeah, once I have my pro card, and I'm like, that once might never happen, buddy.
I'll share my worth. I never had a coach, but sometimes people would help me. Like in 1993, I was getting ready for the ABCC. That was a real organization, Natural Mr. Los Angeles. And I heard all these people were doing peak weeks and peaking protocols. So I'm like, I asked this guy who I knew who was a national level competitor. He was pretty good, never turned pro, but I liked the way he looked on stage. He looked pretty ripped to me. And I said, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. He's like, all right, here's what you do. 3 days out from the show, you stop drinking all fluids. I go, okay, all right. He goes, the only thing you can eat, I can't remember the name of the cereal. It was like a Raisin Bran type of thing, but they were like little chunks. Anyway,
rice chunks.
Oh, there was raisins in it, so there was some moisture, but it was like bran and raisin balls, or I don't know what the fuck it was.
Genius.
And I think he said I had to keep him in the freezer. I had to eat him cold. A lot of it was like voodoo. It just didn't even make any sense now that I look back on it. So he said, okay, you're just going to stop drinking fluids, and then day 3 and day 2. So day 1 is show day. Day 3 and day 2, I want you to go to a sauna for an hour twice a day. So an hour in the morning and an hour like late afternoon or evening. All right. So I was a whopping 173 pounds at 3 days out. I got on the scale before I left the house Saturday morning before I went to the show. I was 158. And that was all. I was dehydrated like a prune. So I ended up getting second place anyway. I got a lot of second places. But the Firehouse restaurant, I went to the Firehouse after judging with my wife, and I got big pitcher of water. And before the meal even got there, I drank the whole pitcher of water. I was so thirsty, and I didn't piss. I didn't piss until like 4 hours later. It just back into me. But and I trusted that guy I didn't question a thing because he was a high level NPC national level guy, and I was just some little natural 23-year-old schmuck. So it's easy for newbies or younger guys, especially, to just put all their faith and trust, especially if the coach is someone who's a competitor and looks amazing. You figure whatever they say must be the gospel, because look at him.
My hookup guy before our show back in '98 for the Ohio, right? He goes, "You probably do some Lasix." I'm like, "All right," just not thinking. Gave me injectable Lasix. Those little ones in the brown thing. He goes, "Take this. Don't." And, our protocol back then was not to drink water for a couple of days, right? And carb up on rice cakes and tuna. So I cut the water, did the Lasix. Like, oh, nothing's really happening. So I lay down. Like about 45 minutes later, it's like a faucet, and I'm not drinking water, right? It's just pissing. I've never peed more in my entire life. It was awful. I was so dehydrated the next day, so flat, cramped. It was the worst feeling in my entire life. And what sucks is they said, Ron, you drink all the water the next day. And my dumb ass, after the show, instead of hydrating, I drink pop and eat a bunch of pasta. And then a couple of them to rebound I've never felt so shitty my entire life. You could feel my head was like like doing a whippet, right? Like that feeling you had in your head, the blood pressure.
So other things I've seen, they've come to me is there's a lot, like we said, there's a million coaches. A lot of times someone does one show and they're a coach all of a sudden. I've had people come to me and say they sent me the diet and they were too lazy to even change the name of the person the other person. The whole protocol was everything was specially prepared for so-and-so. And they're like, but that's not me. They're copying and pasting. I know other people that they put everyone on a keto diet, no matter what the circumstance is. Like, that's all they know is keto, keto, keto. And I remember a guy at my gym who was working with a very well-known coach at the time. He was getting ready for the New England or the Cutler. No, it must have been the New England because we didn't have the Cutler yet. Anyway, he's like, yeah, he won't let me eat any carbs. I'm shrinking. I'm getting weak. I'm tired. But he says, just stick with just follow the program and stick it through. And he ended up losing. He was planning on being a super. He ended up barely being a heavyweight. And this was he was on a good amount of gear, and he still ended up. So, I don't want to get into the keto debate because I'm not qualified. You, Leo and Chris, I'm sure you are, but everyone's not going to respond to the same diet.
No.
I know there are coaches who put everyone on the same exact freaking diet.
There was
everyone's going to respond to a keto diet, but not in a good way.
Okay. Jim, you must have a Florida story about the fitness girls down there that were all on the same exact program.
I don't want to give the person's name away, but
no.
Yeah, but I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah. The diet she gave it was literally, bro, the same diet, about 800 calories a day, about 2 hours of cardio a day. The training was a lot of like plyo stuff, like a lot of box jumps, stuff like that. No super high reps, super sets. And it was just, and she was like, well, I don't feel well. Well, look at the diet. And she goes, well, this is what like all the girls are doing. And I just, my eyes, bro, but from a money standpoint, is when you have a lot of clients like that, dude, especially I think a lot of women, like they like belonging to that clan, right? It's a group. It's like a fraternity. Bodybuilding's a fraternity anyway. But when you have those fancy robes, right, and the
kimono,
your bag, and your girls, and right, yay! But when you all look the same and you're not conditioned, right, and they all almost had that same look, that they were a little bit lean, a little bit fat, soft, like it wasn't
skinny fat.
That's what they all look like, right?
Slim thick or whatever.
No, I remember. I know what we're talking about. And one of them came on the MD boards and lit him up. Do you remember?
Yes.
And said everyone, as they started talking, they realized they were all in the same exact workout program, the same exact diet. And they were paying big money. This was like 15, 20 years ago, and he was charging a lot of money.
It wasn't cheap.
They started comparing notes with each other, like, oh, you're eating this and that for meal 3 and meal 4? And they go, yeah, me too. And what else was so they all it was all basically starving them on like 1,000 calories a day, and they were doing like 2 hours of cardio a day. It was just they were all starved and over cardioed. I know, I'm sure that's not a real verb. Mm-hmm. And they all had that skinny fat look. Like, I wasn't impressed with any of them. But
no, and there was one I won't say at all, but he was notorious for giving one of the athletes, I'll tell you after the show, a chocolate cake to carb up on. Like chocolate cake before some of the biggest shows in the world. And it never worked out very well at all. But I
eat chocolate chip cookies.
But like the whole bag?
No, it depends. I go a lot by feel, man. But
he was eating the whole cake.
So when I wake up in the morning and the show is at 10 in the morning, what are you going to eat that's actually going to arrive?
Yeah.
If you eat some rice, even, like, you can puke it out on the stage, man. It's not going to be in you.
Yeah.
Like, so that I'm pretty good. And it's something that is pretty dense, but it won't fill my stomach. That's pretty great about it. So I'm like, I get the carbs in, I get the nutrients in, and also some fats, which is good. But I can pull a vacuum till behind me, But if I'll, like, some people, they eat real meals. I don't know. Some people, like, it's wild, but for some people that works. It's very, very interesting.
This is a good point. I think women, this is true. I think most coaches would agree that women are a better investment as a coach in terms of clients than men overall. They tend to listen. They stay with you longer as clients. I'm not saying that they don't question as much. I want people to question. Any good coach would welcome questioning, but guys have this tendency to second guess their coach a lot more so than women do. I've had so many guys who have coaches and they're DMing me like, what about this? My coach said to do this. What do you think? I said, I think you should listen to your coach.
Oh, I get that all the time too, Ron.
Why are you asking other people? If you don't trust this guy, why did you hire him? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, too, all these people with all these coaches, they're all online. They all have their own opinions. They're posting like what they think works and stuff like that. So I'll get DMs from clients, be like, oh, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I'm sure it can work in the right situation. I go, it's not something that I would practice or to that extent or whatever. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat,
This is craziest cheat meal stories. The coaches, I know of a coach. I'm not going to say who or what. He's not one of the big names, but I was told by a couple of his clients that DNP was standard practice for everybody because that was his way to allow them all to have cheat meals. Like, you guys can all have anything you eat, anything you want one night a week, as long as you take the DNP. And DNP, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I've never used it, but I was training with my buddy Chris when he was using it, and he missed half the workouts. He couldn't even get out of bed. He felt like shit. He felt like he had the flu most of the time. And that's dosing it correctly. If you dose it a little too high, you're dead pretty much. So a coach that would just blank.
I've used it. It's a total mind F because you get watery first.
Yep.
So you have to really know, like, I'm going to look worse first. Relax. And the best thing is only use it in winter because then, like, you can just sleep without a shirt or something. And I think I used 250 a day, and I started at 150. But the thing with DNP is just that it takes a while to accumulate in your system. So if you don't immediately feel it, stay on that dose for 3 days still.
Yeah, it takes about 72 hours for it to really get into your system, and it also takes, I think, like 72 hours to clear out. I've used it before too. I've only done 200 milligrams in very short bursts, like 5 days or 7 days, and then I'd be off.
For some reason, I heard like 12 or 13 days was the maximum, and then some shifts. I don't remember why. So I used it for 11 days one time, and you have to, like, it depletes you of like ATP, so you have to take way more creatine than usual and drink a lot. So you really have to know how. I didn't lose any strength on it. A lot of people, they lose strength. They are really feeling bad. So I think maybe they overdose it. And obviously everyone's different. Usually with any drug, I can probably take double the amount of someone else before I feel something. So I probably like
You're
felt like someone
hypo-responding.
who was on 125 when I'm on 250.
The only thing that's bad, the only thing that's terrible on like DMP is if you're ever on like a high like carb refeed day or something with a cheat meal, you you feel like you're literally on fire.
Yeah.
But what the cool thing is when you come off and it clears your system, you almost, and then you like, you do like a decent refeed after that, you get a crazy rebound effect and you look dramatically tighter and leaner, and then the water weight comes off and then you look pretty good. But I mean, I never lost really any strength on it either. Felt a little bit of fatigue, but the only thing I noticed, like, it's just really difficult to get pumps. And I was drinking 3 gallons of water when I was on DMP because you're sweating so much that you just want to make sure you replenish like plenty of electrolytes and water.
Here's a good one to go around the room with. Any coach free of charge. I would go with Hani Rambod. Who would you go with, Chris?
Ooh, good question. I'd probably see either like Hani or Aceto.
Okay, there. Can't go wrong with those two. Mike?
Chris Tuttle.
Okay. Yeah, he's good too.
I was thinking that too, but I would go with Patrick Tour.
Yep.
Patrick's really good. Tuttle's good. I mean, I think my coach does a phenomenal job. He's got a great track record.
It's a lot of options now, bro.
I'm with Justin Jacoby.
Okay.
Are you going to be in Dallas next week?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I see you then.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I fly in on the 8th.
Justin is Tonio's coach?
Yeah, man.
Clear.
Are you with Gasp?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, me too. I've been with them since 2018. So
nice.
Oh, now I know why you look familiar. Okay.
You've seen some podcasts probably.
I've seen podcasts, but I think I've seen some video footage or something that Gasp has done before. I've seen you in either pictures or something. So that's cool.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm really recent with them. I used to just be an ambassador, and I know Michael since like 20. Like I moved to Dallas for a while, 21 or so. So and now this year we're like, let's do the podcast together. He also liked it because it's more of a positive podcast, not like the trash talkers.
Way too much negativity out there. I like the positive stuff myself.
Well, Gasp has their own podcast with the whiskey and cigars or something too, right?
Yeah. Sometimes,
yeah.
But that's very occasional.
Yeah. No, I wish I could go to that because it looks like they just sit around and drink whiskey and smoke cigars.
Next week I already linked up with Chris Tuttle, so he's going to be in Dallas. I'm going to do a podcast with him.
He's very health oriented too. When you listen to him, he's very deep about the health aspect of it. You know, not just like throw the kitchen sink at it and hope everything fucking responds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He also trains one of my former clients, Justin Musial. You know him?
Oh, I've heard the name.
Yeah. He became crazy good. You know, I think I was his first coach. I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Tuttle made a post last week. Him and his wife were talking. I don't know if it was from one of his podcasts, and they said when they hear a coach say, my job is to make you win, not keep you healthy or something like that. He said, I want to punch that guy in the face.
Absolutely.
So he's definitely invested in health. I've always heard George Farrell was always impressing that upon me, that he was very concerned with the health of his clients. Like he would take everybody and immediately cut their PEDs load in half.
Yeah, that's why no one goes to him anymore, because they want a coach that loads you up.
Yeah, and
he even showed me
if you're
known for crazy cycles, you get more clients. It's stupid.
Really?
There are guys who shop around for coaches, and two things they will look for are they want guys who are going to give them a lot of drugs because they think they just assume more is better. So, and they want guys who are going to give them cheat meals. I've heard some coaches say, that was the first thing they asked me is how many cheat meals am I going to get? I'm like, oh my God, these are people that shouldn't be competing or thinking about competing. If you're already worried about, oh no, I might not get pizza for a couple months.
In my questionnaire, I always have the option what they prefer. I already asked them, do you want just macros, flexible diet, 80% strict, or strict diet? I almost never get a strict diet. Almost never. Almost every time it's a flexible diet. So then what I always do is like I give them, let's say, 500 calories of their choice. So the rest is strict, and then 500 calories, whatever. And I tell them what would be best to eat if they want to stay strict with those calories, or just do whatever, because I try to, check all the boxes with the other 80%. I mean, that works, of course, still for 99, like for, it's not like someone that goes to Olympia is not going to say like, oh, let's do flexible diet. But yeah.
Do you get guys that maybe like local guys that maybe like they're not following the diet? They're not following the diet, but they're continuing to send you updates, and you kind of sift through their bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Well,
so many people don't follow
their pictures to me before, and I'm like, we're done.
So many people don't follow their diets correctly. Like I've always also so many, like it happens so many times that I get someone and I'm like, and I think I fail to get them on, because I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You're like 52 years old. You're on 2 grams of gear and you're 180 pounds. What's going on? Like, and then they don't want me as a coach, because they want to blast the shit with 52 for what?
Well, I had a guy, this is maybe 6 months ago. We were talking, we were preliminary stages. We didn't end up working together, but he said, I expect you as a coach to be able to provide me with farmer grade gear. And I'm like, no. That would be a drug dealer. I'm not a drug dealer. And I'm
no, that would be a pharmacy. Like how you get pharma grade gear. Like, here's my TRG clinic.
Yeah, I have a compound pharmacy in my garage. Yeah,
people don't understand what pharma grade gear means. They really don't. They mean good gear, I guess.
I'm not going to throw Don Long under the bus because I like him a lot, but the reason he got in trouble was he had his own brand of underground gear, and his defense in this whole situation was, I wanted to make sure all my clients were getting good stuff. So I made all my clients had to buy from me, and then I knew exactly what they were doing, because there are some fake gear out there.
Oh yeah.
If you're working with somebody and sometimes that is the culprit, that they're just on bunk gear. Like that was the theory about what happened with Nick Walker, why he pulled out of the 24 Olympia. I don't know. He never really addressed it, but that was, I don't know how that, I heard that rumor from like 20, 30 different people that his body wasn't responding. And I'm like, Nick Walker couldn't get good gear. Get the fuck.
That's what you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you more about that after the podcast, Ron.
So the one thing that I should have said is a horror story that Goob has exposed a few times on his Instagram page is there are coaches who work mainly or mostly or exclusively with women who are very creepy and ask for like nude update photos.
Yeah.
And start getting very flirty and very inappropriate. And, the women, they'll screenshot this and send it to them. And I've seen some really ridiculous. I'm like, dude, you really thought that was okay to talk to your client like that? I'd love, we should get it. We should meet up for drinks sometime, or, your butt is really driving me crazy. I've seen some stuff that like,
who does that?
Yeah, exactly. In
2020, these coaches, I mean, but why do these coaches even keep existing? Like, how many women like respond to that positively? Like, that's nuts.
I mean, it's luckily we're in the social media age, and they get put on blast if they're
there was a coach back in the 90s in Columbus that worked with a lot of famous girls that had some inappropriate things going on too, right? So, but it wasn't. It was back then. There was no social media, but it was pretty well known that was going on, there. So, I don't know why they stay, but I think sometimes because they think maybe that coach should get them a higher placing, or I'm with so and so, one of his girls, right? So and so, like, so it's I don't know. It's hard. It's a very delicate slope to talk about that because you're going about, what I mean? You're broaching a topic that's very sensitive, but everybody wants to be remembered forever, like the song says, like Pumping Iron,
Well, I getting back to they like to be part of a team and everything, and I think at one point, maybe it's probably not as much this way, but I think there was a political advantage to being a part of some coach's team when this coach would bring 30, 40, 50 athletes to a show, and the promoter knows this guy's helping me make a lot of money, bringing all these athletes to my show.
Yeah.
And there probably were times when there was inappropriate placings or judgment calls made based on that, going back years and years. I don't think it happens much anymore, but
No.
yeah,
No.
there's some shady shit that's happening.
You know when
Yeah,
so-and-so
I mean, I
get
never-
a team award, a team award, right? Oh, the so-and-so gym team award. And, you know what I mean? All their girls have, you know, first, second, third, fourth or in every class. So
You were saying, Leo?
I just want to emphasize that, like, as I never had a coach, I never was on a team, and I still managed to turn pro. So that was in 2020. So, I mean, maybe I should have gotten first, but I mean, you can do it nowadays. So I think that was a really good sign. So just for overall, like, if you look really, really good and like you just are better than the rest, they still give it to you.
Of course. Yeah.
oh yeah.
All right, let's take a look at Leo. This was in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was the Utah Cup Saturday.
Yeah, buddy. 2-week
And,
prep.
2-week prep.
Yeah.
What tan did you use? That color is
shit, That's
awesome.
a damn good color, bro.
Green can.
That was Martini Spray Tan. Shout out to Martini Spray Tan. Now I want the next one for free, guys.
It looks like
Yeah, that is a really good color.
Yeah.
almost metallic looking.
I always make sure they glaze me a lot because I used to, pick it up a lot. So I'm like, glaze me.
Why would you only prep for 2 weeks?
Because I can.
Yeah.
No, come on.
I fucking wish.
Yeah, right.
I was my last show was December. I didn't really get fat. So I was like, dude, there's a show in Salt Lake. And then I asked the promoter, hey, can I set up a booth after prejudging? And he's like, yeah, sure. I wish every pro would set up a booth. So I drove there. That was also why, because it was close. I mean, close. It's still 5-6 hour drive from Vegas, but I could drive.
Okay.
I had a $188, which you saw, Airbnb. It's like, it was super cheap.
Huh.
Yeah.
You
not
put your
bad.
pictures up.
And they usually have good lighting and not the worst backdrop. So, yeah,
Is that the only thing you posted from the show?
I think so. But on NPC News, there's pictures.
Okay.
They made so many pictures. That was last year. Like every second they made a picture. Or every microsecond. You look.
And that was New York Pro 2025 New York Pro.
Yeah.
So you said you're 10 pounds under the limit for your height for Classic?
Not really, but I could.
Yeah, explain that, because I was probably getting confused when we were talking about that.
I mean, I weighed in 214 with clothes, but
Right. Okay.
I didn't try because I didn't have to try. So if I wanted to be 209, I could have been. That's what I mean. So technically, I can put on 10 pounds of muscle.
Oh.
People always like to say that they're heavier than they are, but I'm honest with you here. So I could be 209 for sure if I wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
weighed in.
the cap is 219.
Oh, okay. So
Okay, gotcha.
you
All right.
got plenty of room to grow then.
Oh yeah.
And you're only, what are you, 33, 34?
Yeah, I'm turning 34 on next Saturday.
Still a youngin'. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So I want a party in Dallas for me, guys.
My oldest child will be 32 in 6 days. So
Damn.
yeah, time flies, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's look at the latest Pantano post, which is amazing. This was before USA last year, Chris.
Dude, that's crazy.
No, this was Nationals in 24 December. I just turned 40.
Oh,
No
wow.
shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you're that old.
Yeah,
Hey, man.
I'll be 42 this December.
You don't look that old. Congrats.
I get that all the time, man. Thank you.
Most
Hey,
bodybuilders look older than they are.
I'm always rooting for the old cats, bro. I'm rooting vicariously through you.
But
So-
you have good skin. That's great.
Italian fused with olive oil.
So what about Masters? Are you going to stay open shows only? You're going to try some Masters?
When I do
Get
North
you-
Americans, I'm going to do Masters 40, Masters 35, and Open.
Okay,
Nice.
there you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, they're going to make a lot of money off you that weekend.
You're gonna win that. You get a gas gift card if you win.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I could always use more clothes.
So you're coached by Justin Jacoby,
Yeah.
that's Tony O'Burton's coach.
Yes. Yep.
He's also Josh Brown's coach at my gym, and
Yeah, Josh recently signed up with him, I think, for last year in prep.
And
is the guy in Reno?
Jacoby lives down in Florida, like north of Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that Burton's coach was also in Reno.
Oh no.
Well, he's in Reno. That's why he does Legion. It's like a 5.
But the coach is not.
Legion moves around. It's not always in Reno, but he told me one time it was 20 minutes from his house.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, you can't.
Someone asked me if I ever use EQ, and I don't.
Yeah, well, to me it was just, I used it interchangeably with Deca. It didn't. I liked it a lot. I liked the hunger effect because I had that mentality that no matter how much food I eat, it's all gonna turn to muscle. 40 pounds.
I just don't like some of the kidney scare long-term issues that might. So I'm like, what? Like, and it's not like, oh my God, there's no alternative. If I don't use EQ, I'll never get there.
Right.
I never use Masteron.
Really?
Because I think it sucks.
That's one of my favorites.
It's bad. It doesn't do shizzle.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. Everyone assumes you've used, if you're a competitor and you've used gear, they assume you've used everything. But
I mean, I've used it. I'm not saying it doesn't do anything, and I've never done it. That'd be funny.
Like Deca never, like that was awful for me. That just killed my sex drive. Everything. Like Deca never. MPP was great, but like Deca for me was just.
Have you ever tried Deca with Primo and no test?
I did that in 1996. I did Deca, Anavar, and Prima Bowling for the Mr.
That was good, wasn't it?
I won the class.
See, I hate Primo. I hold so much water on it.
What?
I hold so much water on Primo.
That's wild. I've never heard that.
Yep.
A rumor
I must have an allergy to something.
The Camel Crew was supposedly big on Primo, like high dose Primo.
He always gets fake tests. He always gets Proop and thinks it's Primo. It's like forever.
But like we never knew. Like I remember I had fake I had real parabolic once. I had fake parabolic one time. Spent like $18. Damn, this bastard supposed to be my friend. Some of that fake shit, dude. I said, well, never. I'm not gonna say his name right now. I still remember that son of a bitch. Like, man, I'm petty as shit. This was like 97 too.
Anyone who knowingly sells misrepresents a drug
he was selling everybody fake shit. They're trying to beat his ass for doing that. He ran out of Toledo for that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, how many women have been given D-ball that they were told was Anavar and they paid Anavar dollars for?
Dude, that's so dirty. They're like, oh, why am I so strong? Because your beard's growing. That's why you're so goddamn strong.
Because you just virilize the shit out of your body.
It was so that's next level, like dirty dirtbag shit to do that to somebody, like especially if you're dating them. But regardless,
as a woman, I would make so sure that it's the right gear. Oh my God, I would be.
Yeah.
I would go to a TRT clinic and someone would get it, or ask a friend who's a guy and gets it from a TRT clinic or something for himself, and then there's some way, like
buy a Jano Chic testing kit for it and just send that shit away. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I think especially with women, it's a cliche that they got on drugs from their boyfriend. It's usually not a husband; it's usually a boyfriend. And I've known guys who just went through girl after girl, and they would ruin girl after girl. And once they got them too virilized, they just dumped them and move on, start fresh with a new girl, and just repeat that over and over again.
I remember Meathead world, man. That's a meathead.
And that's just some serious scumbag behavior.
What are you doing?
The guys probably try to get her to wellness shape. It's like, not the genetics. Next one.
Yeah. I mean, meanwhile, her hairline's up here. Yeah.
Are those kind of dirtbags still around? I know there were a lot of dirtbags like that when we were younger. But are there still those kind of like scumbags doing shit like that to people?
Probably.
It's probably a lot less common now because I think there's such a reflexive need to get a coach. Yeah. Whereas back in the day, they're like, oh, well, I'm dating this bodybuilder guy. He knows everything. whatever he tells me to do, it's got to be the right thing. Look at him; he knows what he's doing, and
It's so true, man. Like
and they wake up one day and they got a beard and their voice and hair, and it's.
That's
Who knows? Maybe I'm a girl.
I don't think so. If you are, Caitlyn Jenner was. I don't want to get into all that. I start offending.
That's a wise decision on that one.
Just if I can't find an open bathroom, I turn into a girl. But that's
go outside, bro. Just go outside. Whip it out.
That's the best thing about being a dude. You can pee anywhere.
Anywhere.
Even in your car driving. I've peed in a shake bottle sometimes stuck in traffic if I really have.
I'm so bad. I go charge my Tesla or so on the way to Salt Lake. I don't go to the gas station. I use nature.
What do you think people were doing before there were bathrooms?
But honestly, come on, the bathrooms in gas stations oftentimes were the spots where you can take a break. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, rest stops.
Rest stops.
Yeah.
Right? It's so disgusting. Oftentimes, it's like, dude, if I was a woman, I would pee in nature. I would rather sit behind a tree than go in there.
No fizz.
Any final coaching horror stories, guys? Anything you've heard that just still traumatizes you just remembering it, that somebody had to go through that with a coach? No.
I've known. Jesus. So it was a dude again in Toledo. Like this again, a girl. She gave this dude like $400 for this shit, right? And this motherfucker, he just skipped town, took all of her fucking money, bro. Just fucking bolted. Like, gone.
Yeah.
Like, thief just took her fucking money.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God, and this is even for like no cell, only pagers. Like, so it was hard to get a hold of somebody. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker. And I knew he was shady as shit too. I'm like, you probably shouldn't do that. I wouldn't trust him.
There was a bodybuilder from New England. I won't say his name. I don't know if you guys would even know who he was anyway, but he was in LA for a few years. And right before he went back, he was a dealer, and he went around collecting money, and he was told everyone, I'm going to come back later with the stuff. I don't know. He fucked off with like 10 or 20 grand from various clients. And, he never came back to LA after that. I'm just surprised he never got his ass beat.
How old is this guy now, do you think?
He's older than me, not by maybe like 2 or 3 years older than me. Yeah.
I think I might know who this is. I'm going to ask you when the podcast is
Yeah,
on.
yeah. You might have it. You might have it because he was a shady guy. But, those are more drug dealer horror stories than coaching horror stories.
Oh,
sometimes they're one and the same.
Dude.
Oh, now I got it again. The coach you were talking about in the beginning was Shelby Starnes.
I didn't say that.
Ah, man.
No.
I'm like, what was it again? Stacy, Casey, was some
Shelby's
name that could be a girl too. And I'm like,
he's had his name brought up many times with female clients, and he I don't want to name him or shame him because we're in a very lawsuit heavy society. And no, I mean I don't want to.
I mean, if someone does that many shitty things, I think you can say it. If something is a little bit of hearsay, like this one cycle I heard. I mean, for example, this guy I know really well told me that, so that's for sure. But that's not as bad as killing 7 people. I mean,
is there one coach that's got 7 deaths?
I thought Shelby Starnes had 7 girls died. No. I
don't know, and I'm not confirming that. No.
I mean, but Chad Nichols has at least 7.
Okay, well, that's Chad's.
It was 2 last year.
Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, I don't know if so, that's awful, but I don't know if that's true or not.
It doesn't mean that he's to blame for every death. Of course, people also just die, and people that have a lot of competitors. I don't know, but yeah, 2 guys last year.
But bringing up Chad, I'm interviewing Dominic Friday.
Oh, nice.
He's 307 now. I think he's starting his cut for his first show finally.
What?
Which one?
Chad Nichols' son, Dominic.
Oh, he's doing
He's a
bodybuilding
beast,
show?
man.
Yeah. Huge, strong as shit too. Like gorilla strong, bro.
He's the one that went up to Sean Ray a couple years ago at the Arnold or the Olympia. I can't remember.
I mean, like his mom's got great genetics. You know what I mean? So
he won 4 Olympias, 5 Olympias.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Beat Linda.
Yeah.
Do you think that kid was already on juice with like 14?
No.
He just some kids are just genetically like just beasts like that, man.
I just don't know what that. I don't know Chet Nichols. I don't
The
know.
other brother, I can't remember the other brother's name, but the other brother's super strong. I think he's a year younger.
Yeah.
And they were both like, I don't know, I want to say like squatting 600-700 pounds in high school, deadlifting 700 pounds, like crazy strong kids.
Insane shit.
They're
Bro.
like big farm boys,
Yeah.
Corn fed.
Yeah.
What did Chet Nichols ever compete? I never have seen
No, I
anything
don't
of
think so.
him.
No.
Chad coached Ronnie, right? Ronnie Coleman back in the day.
Yeah.
He was Ronnie's only coach.
Yep.
Coach Ronnie ever had. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ronnie looked great, and then Chet Nichols became his coach.
No. When Chad got him, he had never won a pro show. He started working with. No, that's not true. He had won the Canada Cup.
Yeah.
But Chad's the one that took him from a lower level pro guy,
And the secret sauce.
the B level pro
and-
to Mr. Olympia.
And I tell you what, Ron, you could have done the same.
Well, I mean, there's some people.
And I bet Ronnie would have looked better because he would have been on half the gear.
There's some people that I think their genetics are so spectacular. I say my dog could have coached him for that show.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Chad Nichols made Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman made Ronnie Coleman.
I mean, you could say the same about, they used to say that about Hani. Well, he only works with the genetic elite. Anybody? Well, if these guys want to coach, you're not going to coach them.
With Hani, I think is also, but with Hani, I think is the greatest set is getting them not have any anxiety, trusting him, being chill. Aceto too, like that. They just have this calm, that they trust their coach, and that he puts them in the right mindset. And I don't think Ronnie Coleman needed a mindset coach. Ronnie Coleman was just like Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, buddy, let's do it.
Well, Ronnie's talked about when he started working with Chad, the biggest change is he never talked about the gear, but he did say, well, I was eating like 10 ounces of meat at every meal. Then he had me do 12, 14, 16. He said it was the hardest thing was to just gradually eat all this food that I had never eaten like that in my life. But he started growing because as much as he thought he was eating, Chad's like, no, we're going to get you eating, I don't know, 6,000, 10,000, whatever it was. And it worked. That's what got him to that next level that I don't think on his own, as good as he was.
Listen, Michael Jordan
I think
Michael Jordan had to wait for
saved
Phil
him.
Jackson to win a championship, right? So everybody needs that guidance, right? Tom Brady needed Bill Belichick.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So everybody needs that dude because it's not about it's that and the ego. Well, for sports, but everybody needs that guidance. So like Ronnie, anybody Connie probably could have done it, but Chad was there, right? And Chad gave him all that food and the secret sauce,
I mean, Chad also wasn't he also Big Rami's coach when Rami won?
Yeah, when Rami won both Olympias. Yeah.
So he definitely knows how to get people in shape.
The big
I just
guys.
don't know if it's the best way. Chris Tuttle would probably not approve.
Yeah, I mean, Rami had been with Camel Crew for like 8 years, 7 or 8 years prior to that, and wasn't getting any closer to winning the Olympia for whatever reason.
Camel Crew, that's a whole flashback, bro.
But I think what also helped Rami is that he had Dennis James like beating his ass in the gym and watching what he ate. So this guy kind of like Kamali has Andrew Jack now has Kamali. Kamal, not Kamali.
Oh yeah, Kamala Garni,
Pollock.
Sure, most dangerous drugs out there. Ron Partlow, no choice. So for a coach, okay. Leo, your interview with Michael from Gas was great. Michael Johannesson.
Thank you. That's really cool. Yeah, the thing is, when people don't have a big name, people usually don't watch. But it was actually a really good podcast when it comes to just life and mindset and purpose. But what people want to hear is drugs.
Yeah. I mean, some of the most popular bodybuilding podcasts, some of them they're just all about drugs. That's what people want to hear. What are you going to do? Say, no, we're not going to talk about drugs.
Okay, I'm going to ask Chris about the fruits.
Dave, you should have read them out. I don't know, there's too much food variety. I'd rather take a literal ton of supplements.
No, Chris Tuttle does food variety for a reason. It's the same reason why my coach has me eating 3 or 4 different types of fruits a day because, I do pineapple with my red meat meals because it has bromelain, helps digest the red meat better. I do blueberries because they're low with antioxidants. I do raspberries because you get fiber and a lot of other antioxidants. Not to mention all like the colors and phenols and polyphenols that are in the fruits and stuff that are really, really good for you.
I'm slacking now, but I used to make my, what did I call it? Sauerkraut shake.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah, like the sauerkraut power shake. That was kale, spinach, sauerkraut, blueberries, and some red berries. And yeah, and some I needed to put some protein powder in so it would not be too disgusting.
Ooh. Yeah, I used to use PM as my oil. That's true. The cooking spray, that is true.
Yeah.
It works.
And nice and slippery too. Be careful. Don't slip backstage. That shit was slippery as hell.
Yeah, there's a lot. I missed a ton of these chat things just like popped up now. They weren't showing up. So, Ron, you could be my dad. Yeah, I could. Oh, it's Cody. I'm not your dad, but I'm old enough to be most of your dad. Best tan used to be Dream Tan, but it was banned. Yeah, that's anything.
I don't think it wasn't good.
Dude, that stuff was terrible.
Wasn't it though?
Yeah,
it was just mud.
And you'd have to slap it on, otherwise it'd be like, it would just go everywhere.
Dude,
Yeah,
anything it touched, any clothing it got on, you were never getting that out. Nothing.
They banned it in Germany after a while. They're like, you are not allowed to use this shit because
Dude, they look like
ruined
gold
all the venues.
statues.
Yes.
They ruined everything.
How old am I? I'll be 57 in September, God willing, or as the Camel Crew would say, Inshallah.
That's good.
So, that's all my Arabic
Inshallah.
for one day. Justin's a great Bible himself.
I think that means God willing, inshallah.
Something, yeah, God willing. Yeah, I mean, I like to say that all the time. Scared Detroit deck, instant best story. There's a lot of drug questions here. Sorry, guys, we're not getting to. Oh,
Yeah,
even
get my bodybuilding, my steroid handbook, the anabolic science of steroids, the anabolic handbook.
I missed Xavier was there. Xavier, well, I missed you, Xavier. I joined the herd. Leo said I used nature. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Cody Drobot was on there. Overcome cast, that's you. You were even in the chat, Leo, somehow.
Yep.
I
told him to invite me.
Oh boy. Could have been a millionaire selling roids. Still getting everybody's stuff. All right. I think people are just sort of chit-chatting among themselves. So yeah, geez. They were just talking to each other, so I don't feel bad that I didn't put it on screen. Cool. All right. We've been going for a while. So want to thank the panel. Thank you, Tism Timitano, actually named Chris Pantano. Show you this Instagram so you could follow because you just started prep, right?
Yeah, second weekend.
Second weekend. So
when is the show again? June, July?
September 2nd through the 4th.
Oh, in Pittsburgh, the one you do?
Yeah, North Americans. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. That's why I turned pro.
It's like 20 weeks. 20 weeks.
Yeah, it's like 23, I think, right now. 24, 23.
Okay.
Oh, so you've been a U.S. citizen a long time, Leo.
You don't have to be a citizen. You have to be a resident.
Oh, really? Oh, that's some bullshit. I'm gonna call ICE
it's not
right now.
nationals, Ron. That is North Americans.
Oh, that's
North
true.
Americans can
true.
have Mexicans, even I think, are allowed.
Yeah.
Definitely Canadians are allowed. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No,
that's why all the Canadians come down to North Americans.
I used to love going to that show when it was in LA many years ago because it was those three countries. And the Mexicans, they were only like bantamweights. I never saw any of them. The biggest one I ever saw was like a lightweight. Canadians had all the different classes, but I'm like, man, when are these Mexicans going to start getting bigger? Eventually they did. Eventually you saw some good 212 guys and everything. It took a long time. Anyway, so Leo, when's your next show? Do you have it? Do you have it all plotted out?
New York and Pittsburgh.
Okay, can't go wrong with those two.
But you can still. I could still make it if someone wants to fund the FIBO for me.
Chris gets his card. Ron, you're next. No, I have to wait till I'm 60, and I'm not there yet, guys.
You don't have to. You can just
have to.
Their asses now.
It's in my head. Good to join the pod, gentlemen. Thank you,
Cody's
Cody.
great guy. Cody comes
Great
to
physique
Vegas.
too. You guys don't know who Cody Drobot is. Check out his Instagram. He's got a phenomenal physique.
Look at the Overcome podcast to find out.
Oh, is he? Did you have him on?
Of course.
Okay. I only notice like the big names sometimes.
Cody is a huge name. What are you
He
talking
is,
about?
I know, but if I see Dave Palumbo, like I know Dave, you know what I'm saying?
Nah,
I
it's
go-
all good. Yeah.
I follow like 10,000 people. It's true. I mean, I when I see people that they have like 100,000 followers and they're only following like 300, I'm like, what a dick you are. It doesn't cost you anything. You can't follow
Yeah,
any of
that's
these
so
people
true.
back. Come on.
Yeah, they want that. There was this guy who always followed 0 people and was like super proud of it. I bet he had a second account following 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Probably.
so stupid.
I didn't know Cody
I'm
was
so
Canadian.
cool. I don't follow anyone. I'm so cool. Everyone wants to just see me.
Cody, I did not know you're Canadian, but I won't hold it against you. It's a great country, I think.
But he wants to get out. I'm like, so help him get out.
It's hard to get into the USA. It's very hard to break into the United States. No, it's not. It's very
I think he has a problem that his wife is also Canadian. So
see,
yeah.
Oh yeah, Cody has a great physique.
absolutely.
Cody's really good.
Yeah, wow,
Cody,
like
Cody could have
phenomenal.
won last year's New York Pro. He was dead center, but you hear everything about it on my podcast. Like
Okay.
it was a timing issue. Yeah.
Check out the Overcome podcast on YouTube, guys.
Yeah. Sponsor Cody's visa, guys.
That's a good. Well, I'm
And
not,
my FIBO trip too. We're
that's
begging
right,
here.
you're sponsored. Yeah, because my brother, one of my older brothers, sponsored 2 of my other brothers. One was from Russia, and the other one he sponsored was from what's a really awful third world Central American country?
Central American, Venezuela,
I was about to say Venezuela,
No,
Argentina,
Worse.
Salvador.
Ecuador,
It was
Colombia,
worse.
Ecuador.
No, it was
Bolivia.
really bad. Guatemala, I think.
Guatemala.
Yeah, Guatemala. Oh, horrible. Guatemalans, light me up in the comments. Anyway, all right. So thank you guys. Appreciate you hanging out today. And Chris, I'm sorry I blocked out your head with the damn Meathead podcast logo.
It's okay.
It looks like a funny haircut.
It
There's
doesn't
like a
look bad.
weird battle helmet on.
Yeah, like a super, like gladiator type shit.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
All right, guys. So everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for those of you who joined us live in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. We'll see you next time on the Meathead Podcast. Peace.